The Daily Take with Geraldo Rivera picks up on that right now. Hello, Geraldo. And, you know,
hey, Connell.
They're trying to keep this thing, and Witkoff and Kushner, they did 60 Minutes last night. They're trying to hold this thing together. You know the Middle East very, very well. What would you say?
I think that they better get moving because this is a very, very fragile ceasefire that we have here. You had all of this momentum gathered, and then the president left the Middle East, went back to Washington, and they started shooting right behind him. Remember, this is not peacekeeping in Gaza. This is peacemaking. They have to create a force that can stabilize Gaza. They also need a government of some sort. Otherwise, the vacuum will be filled by Hamas. I mean, it's human nature. Hamas has all the guns. They've been, there are various factions. There are hotheads. There are, those who seek intentionally to destroy the peace process. So they have to move. Momentum is the key. I'm glad Witkoff is there. I'm glad Jared Kushner is there. But you cannot take your eye off this 1 second because we have 60 more dead as a result over the last 24 hours. It's, it's a tragedy that keeps unfolding. We've got to stop it in its tracks, and that demands the president's attention and a plan. And where are the peacekeeping soldiers? Where are the Turkish force or the Egyptian force or the multi-Arab force or the Muslim force or some international body? That you need cops on the ground, so to speak, Connell. You know that. Mm-hmm. And you also need a structure of some sort. What is it going to be? What is Gaza going to be? Is it going to be part of the West Bank and a future Palestinian state? Is it going to be run as a protectorate? What's going to happen? There's a lot undone. We praised the president, who richly deserved praise for stopping the firing and to stopping the slaughter. But now you need the next step, the political step. You need peacemaking.
No one thought it would be easy. It was interesting to see the president's comments today, very similar to what Benjamin Netanyahu's been saying throughout this war, when he says, Hamas would be eliminated. The president using a little bit of a different word, that if Hamas keeps this up, what will happen to them. Here's President Trump earlier today on this idea of eradicating Hamas.
We have 59 countries that agreed to the deal. We have a peace in the Middle East for the first time ever. We made a deal with Hamas that, they're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to. They'll be eradicated, and they know that.
And they know that, he says. But, you start to wonder whether it's, the leaders of Hamas, so to speak, or it's the soldiers that are part of Hamas that are kind of acting on their own. I mean, how difficult this is going to be as it plays out.
Well, you can imagine there's been nothing but anarchy and violence and a war where one side has all of the arsenal of a modern military. The other side is armed to the teeth, but with smaller weapons. But the Hamas militants are, there are many, many people within that context that are hotheads. They don't want to surrender. They don't want Israel to come back into Gaza. They're willing to fight to the last Gazan. It's a very, very fragile is exactly the word. Now, I hope, and I think that Kushner and Witkoff, and by extension, the President of the United States, has to identify who is going to be the peacemaker, who is going to put the forces up, who will be vulnerable to snipers and, other violence as they try to impose a police force on Gaza. But every society needs policing. You need rules. And if you don't have the, rules, then you don't have someone to enforce the rules, then you're going to have chaos. And this is exactly what you have here. Mm-hmm. It's enough with the smiles and the handshakes and the red carpets and all the rest of it. Or give yourselves high fives, but now tell me who the soldiers are going to be. Tell me who's going to pick up the dirty job of making peace there. Being sniped at and all the rest of it. It's a very damnable, difficult situation. If it wasn't, it would have been solved decades ago, Connell.
Oh, all right. This war on these drug cartels, that's come up again over the last couple of days. I wanted to ask you about it because you've been supportive of the president, striking these boats that are alleged to have, cartel members on them. And He's getting questions, however, from some in his own party. Rand Paul's got to get attention. I had Senator Mike Rounds on last week talking about it. Here's what the president said about Colombia when he was on the plane yesterday. And then I want to hear what you have to say about where this all goes next. President Trump.
Stopping all payments to Colombia. They are a drug manufacturing machine, Colombia, and we're not going to be part of it. So we're going to drop all money that we're giving to them. Colombia is out of control, and now they have the worst president they've ever had. He's a lunatic who's got a lot of problems, mental problems.
And now they recalled their ambassador did Colombia to the U.S. So where do you think of how this is all going?
They're very unfortunate. I really, I think that this is a giant step backward. Let me just briefly explain. Here's Venezuela at the top of South America. Adjacent to Venezuela is Colombia, more or less. So we're fighting against Venezuela. We want Venezuela to stop sending migrants. We want Venezuela to stop, interfering with the United States. We've got a fleet off the coast of Venezuela. We've got admirals. We've got warships. We've got aircraft that have been brought to Puerto Rico, all aimed at Venezuela. And now we're taking on Colombia. The point of the matter is that Colombia and Venezuela have been rivals over the years. What we're doing is we're pushing them together. We're strengthening the Venezuelan dictator Maduro by this, by singling out the Colombian president. I understand his concerns. His concerns are that, who are these people being blown up? When I say I am all for the military and kinetic action against cartel and drug runners, it is with the assumption that our professional armed forces have the intelligence, the information gathered that we know who is on that boat that we're about to blow up. We know that they bought, 3 tons of coke from Jose Jones, and they put it on a fast boat, and they're trying to take it to Trinidad, Tobago, to put it on a plane to go to New York. That's what you need, whether it's a CIA or whoever the intelligence agency is that has the snitches in the point of origin telling us who is in these boats. I have to know, or at least be reasonably confident that
Right.
we're doing this professionally. I like the drama of it. I like the deterrence of it. You're going to try that, you're going to get blown up by the United States Air Force or the Navy.
Right.
I like that, but I am assuming that this is being done in a professional way where at least they know amongst themselves what it is they are blowing up.
Right, and a legal way, which is what some of the Republicans are asking questions about right now. So we'll see how it all plays out. I wanted to ask you about the New York City mayor's race. We had a conversation last hour about one of the polls showing it tightening up a bit. Only if Curtis Sliwa, our old friend, were to drop out, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. But even if it did, Mamdani had the lead against Cuomo, okay? And that sets you up to a point here. A couple things are going on with Mamdani. Number one, he had this picture taken with this controversial imam in New York City, so that's getting attention. Number two, there's this kind of assumption almost that the guy's going to win because he does have the lead. So Stephen A. Smith was talking about this, all right? Talks about everything these days. Stephen A. about the party and what it looks like if it's Mamdani as the leader of the Democratic Party. Here's Stephen A.
If the Democratic Party becomes him, you have no chance. You have no chance on a national basis in terms of the presidency. In Senate seats in the House, you have no chance. You might have a Democratic socialist sprinkled here and there, but that ain't what America is. America's about capitalism. America's about dollars and cents.
Dollars and cents. Geraldo, what do you think?
I'm with him. I think Mamdani is a disaster in the making. Well, I haven't seen any polls that suggest Cuomo dropping off and having Sliwa against Mamdani, the Republican against the Democrat. I'd be curious to see what that poll shows. But as of right now, everything I've seen indicates, every poll, 90+% that this guy's going to be the next mayor of New York. I think it is a disaster in the making. I pleaded with my friends and family not to be seduced. This is a very impressive young man. Mamdani is a very impressive young man. It's like all the people that messed up Geraldo in the early days. Mamdani is a very impressive fellow. And, he could possibly be a historic figure. Except that I think the odds are that New York City would be much better off with Andrew Cuomo, the former governor, as the mayor of New York. He knows the personalities. He knows the neighborhoods. Not that Mamdani doesn't, but I think that Cuomo is a proven quantity. You may not like him. All that Me Too stuff was a bunch of baloney, it looks like, or certainly unproven in a court of law. I urge New Yorkers, particularly and my children, to see the light. New York, it hangs by a thread.
Is this a television message to your own children? Are they not listening to you, Geraldo? What's going on?
This is I'm speaking to kids.
You got to go on TV to get them to listen to you?
This is
I hear you. That does happen, by the way.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper. You pay the freight.
But that just shows you a lot of young people are the one. A lot of people here love the guy. Is that which is your point?
That is the point exactly. I've got kids and grandkids there, and I think that what they don't understand is that the definition of what a rich person is a lot different in New York than it is elsewhere. The rich are really rich in New York, but they're a tiny sliver of society. They need to know that middle-class people are going to be taxed like crazy, that this free stuff doesn't exist, the free bus, free lunch, free rent, free this, free that. And you pay for that by taxing the rich, and the rich aren't just the rich, it's the middle class, that's my point. It's the middle class, it's the people who've worked hard, it's the professional people, it's people with enough mobility that they can easily pull up stakes, move to Connecticut, move to New Jersey, move to Florida, make New York destitute. The rich can't carry it all. There's 8.4 million people in New York that need services, that need the lights on, that need cops. Mamdani, wanted at one point to take the money away from the police force. That's a real recipe for chaos. I just urge New Yorkers to, it's a nice guy. Invite him to lunch if you want to, but not to City Hall.
I'm Geraldo Rivera, and I approve this message for my own children. So hopefully they're watching today. I hope they watch NewsNation, right? Thank you, my friend. We'll see you again tomorrow. That's great. The great Geraldo Rivera.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.